Let me tell you, when a 50-something woman in pearls stands on your dock at sunrise screaming about public nuisances and threatening to seize your life's work, you know, your day's about to go sideways. That was Celeste Harrington, HOA president, self-appointed queen of Willowbrook Marina, and at 7:30 in the morning, apparently, hell-bent on erasing my ship from Connecticut's most prestigious waterfront community. There she was, manicured finger pointed at the crimson serpent, my pride and joy, a brigantine I'd restored from the edge of the scrapyard, with every last dime and ounce of patience I had left. To me, she was 18 months of blood, sweat, and splinters, a living, breathing connection to my great-uncle Bartholomew. To Celeste, she was just an eyesore killing property values. Funny how that works, right? I'm Caspian Thornfield. And yeah, I never thought inheriting a ship would launch an all-out war. But the look on Celeste's face made it clear this was about to get ugly. Now she wasn't your average nosy neighbor. As HOA president for nearly a decade, Celeste ran Willowbrook like a personal fiefdom. Her husband shuffled millions through his investment firm. Her brother-in-law was the local maritime judge, and their whole family treated the marina like it came with a deed and a throne. Mrs. Harrington, I started biting back 1,000 things I wanted to say. The ship's on my private dock. It's fully registered, Coast Guard approved. So what's the problem? Her laugh. Pure ice. The problem. Mr. Thornfield is your little hobby project. Looks like it washed up from a shipwreck. This is a community of distinction, not a maritime junkyard. What really got me, though, 6 months ago, she wasn't wrong. When I inherited the serpent from Uncle Bartholomew, the thing looked like a haunted house had crashed into a barnacle colony. But his letter was clear. The Crimson Serpent holds more than memories, nephew. She's been waiting for someone who understands her true worth. I always thought that was just the sentimental rambling of an old sailor. Maybe not. I poured $180,000 every cent I had into restoring her, tracking down authentic materials, researching 18th century rigging. The result, she looked like she'd sailed right out of the golden age of piracy. But Celeste wasn't done. I've seen the registration 1976 build, so it's a replica, and replicas fall under our new Historical Accuracy Ordinance. Historical Accuracy Ordinance. First I'd heard of it. The one we'll be voting on at tomorrow night's emergency meeting, she smirked. Motion 17-3. All historical replicas must be documented authentic or removed within 30 days. Elegant. Right. Write a rule to target my ship, then spring the trap. And if I refused, $500 a day in fines. Legal fees. Non-compliance proceedings. Oh, and your rigging isn't even period correct. Then she spun on her heel and left me standing there feeling like I'd just been mugged by a country club. That morning the sun rose higher and the Crimson Serpent rocked in her slip, all that work glinting in the light, every plank and line a labor of love. If you've ever had someone try to steal your family's legacy right out from under you, you know the punch in the gut I felt. Quick poll, where are you watching from? Drop your city and state. Because I guarantee these HOA nightmares aren't just a Connecticut thing. Anyway, my phone spent the rest of the day glued to my ear. Coast Guard State Marina Authority, a maritime lawyer in Boston. The verdict was clear: so long as my ship was registered and maintained, no HOA could force its removal. But if you've ever dealt with an HOA, you know legal authority and actual power don't always line up. Around 2 p.m., just as my frustration hit a boiling point, I heard someone call out, "Permission to come aboard." Climbing up, I saw a woman, mid-40s, sharp suit, sensible shoes, leather satchel that look academics get after a decade of squinting at microfiche. Dr. Evelyn Blackwood, Yale University. I'm researching colonial-era vessel inconsistencies, and your ship caught my attention. Sure it did. 6 hours after Celeste's ambush, a Yale historian just happens to drop by. But she knew her stuff, pointed out details in the rigging, snapped photos, even offered $50,000 for full research access, which for a replica is ridiculous. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, but I let her poke around. After she left, I just stared at the serpent Uncle Bartholomew's words echoing in my head. She's been waiting for someone who understands her true worth. That's when Sterling Richmond showed up. If you've ever had one decent neighbor in a sea of HOA zombies, you know how valuable that is. Sterling, retired lawyer, healthy skepticism, great stories over a beer. He sits down, tells me Dr. Blackwood's been snooping around my ship 3 times this month, always when I'm gone. Shows me photos, her with scanning gear, some suit photographing my hull Celeste on the shore with binoculars, even a helicopter circling the marina. Rothschild, Sterling says. Magnus Rothschild, shipping billionaire, collector. Not shy about bending the law. He's visited Celeste 3 times in the last month. She bought a Maserati right after his last trip. Suddenly it all made sense. Rothschild wanted my ship. Celeste was the local hammer. Dr. Blackwood was his inside expert. But why, what did Uncle Bartholomew know? I finally went down to my uncle's hidden study, organized chaos charts, nautical books, gadgets everywhere. But it was the locked filing cabinet that changed everything. Taped inside his favorite book was a brass key. And inside that cabinet, letters from Lloyd's of London, 1897, confirming insurance on a brigantine called the Crimson Serpent, built in 1689. Not a replica, a real, original pirate ship. Next, a letter from a British admiral in 1702 marking the Serpent as associated with Blackwater Morgan the pirate and missing royal treasure. The manifest listed 847 pieces of crown jewels stolen from King James II. No wonder Rothschild wanted this ship. And Uncle Bartholomew. He'd been tracking, authenticating, hiding this truth for 40 years. That's when I found the final letter. Caspian, the treasure isn't a legend. It's real still aboard. The manifest's in the secret compartment behind the chart table. But be careful. Trust no one. I'll tell you reading that I felt my hands shake. I was suddenly the guardian of a secret that people would do anything to possess. The next day, Sterling calls Celeste, has moved up the emergency HOA meeting to that night. No more time. I find the compartment behind the chart table. A section of bulkhead opens up. There it is, the original manifest signed by Captain Blackwater Morgan. The royal jewels, the gold, every last item described in ink faded by centuries. Hidden where only the worthy shall find it. The Serpent guards her treasure well. But before I can process that, I get a call. Professor Miranda Ashworth, Colonial Maritime Institute. She's been tracking Rothschild's operation for 3 years. Your Dr. Blackwood works for him, she says, and the FBI's been building a case. They need evidence Rothschild's using the HOA to steal your ship. Within an hour, she's on my dock with Agent Cooper Whitman, FBI Art Crimes. They verify the documents, confirm everything. Tonight's HOA meeting is the key, Whitman says. We'll let Celeste spring her trap, then reveal the truth. That evening, the marina was buzzing. The community center was packed, the energy electric folks who'd never cared about HOA meetings crowding in. Celeste, cool as ever, presents her emergency ordinance, then brings in her own so-called expert Dr. Blackwell to trash my ship as a fraudulent replica. He slips up, cites construction details that contradict my documents. Professor Ashworth stands, introduces herself, and calmly lays out every scrap of evidence, the Lloyd's letter, Admiral Tighe's correspondence, Uncle Bartholomew's research. Celeste tries to shout her down, but that's when Agent Whitman steps up, flashes his badge, and announces the ship is now under federal protection pending investigation. The silence deafening. But then the doors swing open, and in walks Magnus Rothschild himself, flanked by 2 sharks in suits. He waves around a forged bill of sale, claims he bought my ship for $1 that very afternoon. Only problem. The signature's close, but not close enough. Whitman inspects it, then calmly places Rothschild under arrest, fraud, conspiracy, obstruction. Federal agents pour out of the crowd, Rothschild in cuffs, Celeste dialing her husband, desperate for help from her judge brother-in-law. But Whitman's ready Judge Harrington has recused himself. Federal law trumps local shenanigans. The dominoes fall. Celeste is arrested. Dr. Blackwell is grabbed, trying to slip away, and suddenly everyone in the room is realizing the true scale of the scam. Sterling, my good neighbor, stands up and starts asking the crowd, how many of you were forced to sell because of trumped-up HOA violations? How many paid fines for rules that seem to appear overnight? Hands shoot up. The anger is palpable. Folks realize it wasn't just me. Rothschild and Celeste had been using the HOA as a private racket, forcing out anyone with something worth stealing. Next morning, the feds launch a full archaeological survey. The Crimson Serpent's carbon-dated wood and hidden brass nameplate clinch her 1689 origin. The whole marina becomes a crime scene. News crews descend and then pay dirt. Ground-penetrating radar reveals a secret compartment in the keel. When they finally open it, the treasures of 3 centuries spill out. Gold jewels, crowns, swords, everything Captain Morgan and Uncle Bartholomew hid and protected. Federal charges come down like a hammer. Rothschild's collection seized Celeste and her family stripped of assets. The judge disbarred Dr. Blackwood's academic career, left in ashes. Willowbrook Marina is reborn. The corrupt HOA dissolved, replaced by a community-driven heritage association. The museum we built around the serpent and her treasure brings in visitors from all over the world, funding scholarships, protecting other historic ships, and reuniting families forced out by Celeste's scams. But the fight's not over. Turns out there are 17 more ships like mine across the country, all being targeted by corrupt HOAs and municipal boards, all connected to this web of billionaire collectors and shady officials. Our case blows the doors open, a federal task force, legal precedents, and a nationwide movement to defend family heritage against greed and corruption. 3 years later, I'd get a call from a terrified young woman in Charleston, Mr. Thornfield. My HOA says my grandfather's ship is a nuisance. They're threatening to seize it. I smile, remembering the dock, Celeste's shrill threats, and Uncle Bartholomew's wisdom. Some things are worth protecting, no matter the cost. Rebecca, you're not alone. Call Professor Ashworth. Mention the Crimson Serpent. We'll help you fight back. And as the sun sets over Willowbrook Marina, the serpent's hull glinting gold in the light, I realize this isn't just my story. It's every family who's ever had to stand up to power and say, not today, not this time. So let me ask you, if someone tried to steal your history, your heritage, would you fight back? Or would you just let it slip away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe in justice and standing up for what's right, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories, and tell me your HOA nightmares. Because as long as there are people willing to fight for what matters, the serpent's treasure and her legacy will never be lost again.